Welcome everyone to Friday Night Chatters, where we talk about what's on our minds and you lucky people get to follow along. This week we are talking about the essence of being a child and how it changes from then to adulthood. We are your hosts for tonight. My name is Kirsten Priest.
My name's Catherine Mann. You can call me Kat.
My name's Sebastian Lopez.
And we're going to be just chatting.
Chatting, talking it up.
So, before we get started, I wanted to get to know you guys a little bit more. The first question I wanted to ask was, what's your favorite pizza?
I'm a very basic person. I'm perfectly fine with a pepperoni, but I really enjoy pineapple on pizza. A lot of people might not like that, but I enjoy that.
One of my favorites ends up being Hawaiian, but my favorite would have to be a classic Supreme pizza.
Oh my goodness, y'all eat fruit on pizza.
It's
Oh my
really
God.
good.
I am appalled. But me, I'm lactose intolerant, so that means my stomach be hurting when I eat cheese and dairy and all that. But I still eat pizza, so mine will be I like chicken on mine and Alfredo sauce and Italian sausage, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's literally the only type of pizza I get. I mean, I eat other types, but other than that, that's the only one I get. And I don't eat pizza like that because it makes my stomach hurt.
Okay, for another icebreaker question, what is y'all's favorite pastime?
Ooh, Kirsten, you go first.
Pastime, meaning like what we do in like free
Like a
time?
hobby?
Like leisure.
Girls sleep, y'all. I like to sleep. I like to sleep. That's why y'all was blowing the phone. I didn't even know because I was asleep.
Sleeping is like the best thing to do when you're tired.
Yes, and listening to music. I love me some music, and I don't know about other people, but I like cleaning too. I'm not a clean freak, but like when I get in the mood, I clean, and I go deep cleaning and listen to music and be in my own little world.
That's awesome. My favorite pastime or leisure activity would be to either watch YouTube videos or go ahead and doodle on anything I have.
My girl,
it's
artiste.
Like just doodling is so relaxing, and listening to some music is just chef's kiss.
Is there anything specific you like drawing? Just like people, maybe?
My most favorite thing to draw are people, specifically women, because they really like their shape. But I've started to diverse my skills into drawing men and objects.
Interesting.
What about you, Sebastian? What's your favorite leisure?
I mostly just like playing video games. It's
That's cool.
pretty much the most thing I do.
What kind of video games do you play?
I like horror a lot, and since I recently got a computer, I've been getting into horror a lot more. There's a lot more options.
Yeah, horror's not my favorite, but it's very interesting with the lore.
I do a little bit of games, but like not with people, just by myself in free time. I like GTA. I like violent games. I'm not violent though. I promise. I just like playing GTA and robbing people.
Yeah, my favorite games end up being like, this is gonna sound really weird, but like those like leisure ones that you have to watch an ad or something to get to work. It's just so relaxing in my opinion.
And y'all, I get mad when I don't pass my levels. I get upset.
Yeah, that's. Do you have an icebreaker question?
Do I have an icebreaker question? What do I want to ask? So that is real interesting. I don't know, y'all. Do anybody have pets? I know you have a cat.
Oh, yeah, I got pets.
Cat has a cat.
Yeah, I do. I have two cats. One Sebastian, haha. He's my favorite one. He's like my emotional support animal. And my other one really likes attention. His name's Marcus. So.
Marcus.
I have a dog only now. His name is Lucas. That's it. What about you, Kirsten?
We got 0 pets in this house.
Oh no!
0 pets. Girl, don't be, oh no. It was relaxing. I don't like all that shit.
It can't be a lot of work.
They can be. But if you had to pick a pet, what would it be?
I used to have 2 fishes though, but they died when I was in 3rd grade.
Oh, we should be laughing at that.
I can't really say I don't have a pet because we have a family dog in my grandma's house, so I guess that's my pet or whatever. But in my house, no. because I just don't do. I just for some reason I just don't like taking care of animals because I barely can take care of myself. Mess with me, they gonna starve.
Right, right.
All right. I
So
say we do
I'm
one more question, then we get into the
Into the
discussion. What were your
discussion.
thoughts?
Okay. I'm trying to think. Oof.
What's your favorite food? We'll say that.
Mm, that's hard.
I got it. Even though I love food, but my favorite food is any type of pasta. I love pasta. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I start to think I'm Italian the way I like pasta so much.
That's awesome. My favorite food would have to be either a salad, like any salad. You can never go
Hmm.
wrong with a good salad. And my
A
second,
Caesar salad especially.
yeah, Caesar's like, my second favorite would have to be avocados.
Oh,
Weird, but
Ooh.
I
it's
really
weird.
like
But
avocados. I eat
My
them every
mom
morning.
loves avocado.
I can't have it too often because, well, avocado. So I always have it like once in a while. But I love me some avocados.
Okay.
How about you, Sebastian?
Probably rice with chicken. That's it.
Ooh, like honey ginger chicken on top of a bed of rice with some asparagus. Oh my god, this sounds so good.
Ooh,
And
y'all be eating good.
I'm really into like Japanese culture. And,
Mhm.
like I just love everything about them, and so I really enjoy like sushi, ramen, all of that stuff. My
Okay.
dream is to move to Japan when I grow up.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Another country. I always wanted to try sushi, but I just be so scared. I don't know why. Because
How
I
does
don't
it
know
go
if
for
it's raw,
sushi?
if they cook it, and then like I can see people get
You should.
tapeworm from eating some type of sushi. And I was like,
Okay,
oh,
so the
I
solution
can't.
to that is just to get a California roll.
Yep, like the
Yeah, because there's
goats,
no fish in
the
them.
base. It's just crab.
Yeah, just
I hate
crab, no fish.
I hate
Also, like
fish
you
and any
saying,
kind of seafood.
y'all telling me to
Ooh.
get the real authentic sushi. Where can I
Just
find that at? Because I want to try it so bad, but I be so scared. But I'm gonna try it, but I just don't know where to get it.
I don't know about here, but I just go to Sam's Club or I don't remember the name, but they have really good food. They just have sushi, just homemade at the counter, so it's fine.
Ooh, okay. That makes me feel a whole bunch better, a whole lot better.
But while we're on the topic of just what we like and how we become who we are, um, what do you think makes up childhood?
Innocence, a childhood, in events that happen in your life too makes up how you grow up, or like what probably makes you into the person who you are going to be as an adult. And like
Mm-hmm.
to me, like the like I said, the events that goes on while you're a child. So like anything leading up to the point of you growing up and everything that you've done, like probably from like well, and two, I wouldn't say like the age of a child. Like I feel like I would say there's an age limit, but at the same time there's not, because you can still be an adult and still be a child and have a
Right,
child's mind.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
yeah,
it's like I feel like people stand still act like a child, but it's like what does it mean to be a child? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with all that, it basically means like you're immature. You don't have any. You don't know how to hold any type of
yep,
responsibility. You play
Mm-hmm.
around way too much and stuff like that. It's like basically you don't know how to be serious when it's time to be serious. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
yes.
So that
immaturity.
I feel like
yes,
adulthood plays a lot of part with experience and maturity.
Mm-hmm.
yes. So it's
Because if
like
you're not experienced, then you don't know anything about life.
Right,
You're practically a child.
right.
right. So like a child, you don't know anything yet because you under the care of your parents. And
Hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have anything to do, no care in the world. All you doing is laughing, giggling, and playing all day.
Yep.
Yup. Um, to piggyback off of that, this quote I have from two people named Milky. Oh gosh, Malik and Marwaha. They said to understand human growth and development, there are two areas we need to know. One, knowledge and milestone contemporacies cannot speak. For example, growth in the motor, cognitive, speech language, and social emotional domains. And two, the ecobiological model of development, specifically the interaction of environment and biology and their influence on development. So, with this in mind, I think how you become adult. In order to become adult, your experiences as a child, as well as the environment you grow up in, really do matter. So, pretty much, we'll use us as examples. We're not completely adults, but we're getting so close to it since we're close to graduation in college. What environment did you guys grow up in?
I grew up in the very middle class. I gladly very grateful that I never had to struggle too hard. But I mean, just a typical life for me. I feel like I'm not to the point where I can call myself an adult, but I'm not to the point where I'm a child. Because I'm self-sufficient, I can do things on my own, but I'm not so far in life that I can go out, move out, start my own family yet.
Right. You're still dependent on your parents a little bit. Not completely, but just a little.
Yeah.
And for me, the environment I kind of grew up in, I want to say, okay, so as a child, looking from a child's perspective, I was pretty okay. First, let me start off like saying this. I really, my mind. I don't know if this is gonna make sense to y'all, but my mind was kind of, as a child, was kind of more mature than my body, if that makes sense. My physical appearance.
That makes
sense.
So
it's like I kind of, as a child, kind of understood a lot of things that was going around me because I don't want to say I had it hard in life, but I didn't see something. I didn't see my parents struggle, but not like struggle to the point like we're just, completely broke. But it's like sometimes it's hard as an adult and you have a kid and you with someone, right? And it's like sometimes you guys struggle to do certain things. So it was like that, but I wasn't lower class or anything. Or like Sebastian said, I grew up middle class, So I always got everything I wanted. Parents always make sure I had everything I needed, so I would consider that as middle class. So but everybody has their times when they struggle and stuff like that. And as a child, I did see that, which I feel like my parents probably didn't think, but I did see that. So like, with the part being like that, I feel like now I have a more mature mind, but I'm not I'm not a child or like have childhood like have a childlike mind. Like I'm to the point was between a child and an adult is basically a teen. So I would classify myself as a teen. Like I have responsibilities. I know how to be serious at certain points, and I know how to take care of those responsibilities. But other times I want to play around, goof around my friends. Don't think about certain things first. So it's like I could be like a child sometimes. I could have a childlike persona mind sometimes, but like I know how to turn it off, when to use it and when not to use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's me.
Me? I had a really difficult environment to grow up in. It wasn't very difficult, but I did not grow up in the best environment. It's going to go into a little bit of the trauma section of this, but we'll get to that in more detail. I grew up in a rural area, and it wasn't a very good place to be growing up in. My parents were constantly fighting, and my brother was having a hard time with his schooling. My little brother doesn't really remember much of it, but me and my older brother do. So my parents were fighting, my school wasn't really taking care of me. I lived in a bug-infested house, so I had a hard time. And those experiences and having to struggle really taught me how to grow up mentally a lot faster than how I did physically. My father wasn't a good person, and in 2013 he left us. So after that I had to really step up my game and become more mature at an early age. My grades had to improve, my attitude had to improve, my lifestyle had to improve. But because of those experiences, I like to think I'm a better person because of it, since I know how to empathize a lot better at my age right now, and how I know how to just talk and try to be more open, though it has caused me to be a little more shyer with new people.
Yes. I could relate to that. I mean, I have both of my parents, and I'm thankful for that. But like growing up too, I hope this says some shit. Oh my gosh! But growing up, but growing up too, I did like. Well, okay, I'm gonna put it like this. So my parents, they was only together for a year when they met. When they met each other, they was together for a year. Within that year, they had me. So like, imagine like only knowing each other for a year, then you have a baby. So it's like you guys are still trying to figure out,
Mhm.
figure out how each other move and what they do and what they do and like what's their future plans while y'all taking care of the baby. So it's like when I was younger, I do remember arguments and hearing fights and stuff a lot. But like I feel like it's not only has it brought them a long way because now they're in a very amazing place, they're married and everything, but it's also had effect on me too, which sometimes I don't think parents realize that, but it
Mhm.
had an effect on me too. Like you, Kat, my mind had to mature faster than my physical appearance, which sucks sometimes. But
Mhm.
I think that I really look back and be like, oh, I'm kind of glad that happened because now people won't be able to play me or walk all over me because
Mhm.
the seeing stuff I did, doing the stuff I did while I was a kid or younger, it's like I already know how people move. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
The
like
experience
that.
has made you stronger.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah. I think that I kind of went through it, but not at the same time. I don't feel like that should I should have had to hear that or went through that.
Hmm.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, some things in life just make you stronger, But now we're good. We're
Right.
okay.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can totally relate to that with having to grow up faster than your body. It's really really hard, and children who are innocent don't need to do that because you
Right.
don't need to grow up before you need to. So it's really sad when children have to
When
do that.
Yeah, it's like I feel that's something that I feel like children should have to go to. All they need to worry about is playing outside and seeing rainbows and catching butterflies, and that's it.
Oh, if I had
Until
like, if I could do that, that'd be like the best thing. Even now, I would love to go outside and catch butterflies.
that's my favorite insect. I don't like bugs, but that's my favorite bug or insect.
Okay, so like that was like where you grew up. How did your school environment affect you?
My school environment. Okay, so how can I put this? My school environment, okay, so everybody, okay, when I was a kid, I lived in an apartment, and like, sometimes when you live in an apartment in a neighborhood, you got that neighborhood
Mhm.
school, right? Those two
Right.
or
Right.
three neighborhood schools. So my elementary just so happened to be literally up the street from my apartment, and that's where all the kids that lived in our neighborhood, lived in our apartment complex went, which was really fun because we go to school and have fun and do that, and then we come back home, get done with homework, and get to go outside and play again. So it was pretty cool. But my school environment, I was very much mature in school, even in elementary at a young age. I was mature because, like I said, my mom matured faster than my body, so I I knew a pretty good deal of rights and wrongs at a young age. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
my grades were pretty high up there. Always been on AB honor roll, A honor roll. Like always
Mhm.
understood the assignments in class. I always was kind of ahead of some students in my class. Like at one point in fifth grade, I'm not pretty good at math now, but in fifth grade I was like top of the chain good at math. So
Right.
I got asked to be a tutor to teach another kid, a kid teaching a kid. Like what?
Ooh.
So I got asked to be a tutor. So now I got an extrovert. Now I got to stay after school and like let my free time go to help someone else out, which I didn't have a problem with. But it's like just hit me like, dang man, I'm really smart. And I've always been I've always been in honors classes ever since like fifth grade or like sixth grade. I've had always been in some type of honors class, which kind of had a great effect on me too because it brought a lot of stress on me. And I used to
Right.
talk to my parents about, but they'll be like, "We're not putting the stress on you, boo. That's all you. That's you pushing yourself real hard, which is a good thing. But like you making a really big deal, like you getting way in over your head, like you're stressing, and like you should be stressing this game. You see what I'm saying? But it's like I just want to Like, and me being the only child too, now that plays a big role.
Yeah.
Sometimes being the only child. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I just want to make sure my parents are really happy, and like I'm like the golden one, and like, you know what I'm saying. I want
Yeah,
them,
that would
I
be
want them to be
nice.
proud of me, basically, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but now I'm still like that, but times I find myself just getting so lazy with it because
Yeah.
school, I just been like so tired of school. Like I've been like working really hard since like a kid, you know, or like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like
especially with
once
the new online and everything, and
yes, and then it
Yes,
got
online.
and then when Corona hit us, and then we all have to get online now, that put a great deal of stress on me because I was like, well, I'm a visual learner. I have to physically be there in order to be
Oh,
passing something, you know. So I'm not really a techie person.
yeah,
yeah,
I
So like
completely.
that plays a lot in that too, and I'm just like, ugh. And then I had my mom like, why are your grades looking like this? Is like, look now, when have you ever
Yeah.
known Kirsten Priest or your daughter to fail a class at the end of a semester, huh?
Yeah.
Never. So
yeah,
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And
like
then when
kind
your
of.
right, and then when your parents bring it up to you, like, oh, that puts much stress because like now I just really want to make them proud. That's all it is.
yep,
So
Yeah, that's kind of similar in my situation where I've always been an A or AB honor roll student. Ever since my dad left us, I've been in the higher grades. But because of moving as well as not having as much social connection, and the coronavirus just kind of putting a stop on everything, my grades at the very beginning of the year were perfect. They were A's, they were all A's. But then as
right,
soon as it all started to hit, and I was starting to get depressed and anxious, my grades started to go down, and now I'm getting in trouble for it, even
right,
though it's never happened before.
right, and then you got them sleepless nights. Now you got insomnia, then anxiety is like hitting you out of nowhere. Like, oh my gosh, and
yeah,
then the teacher, you have people, teachers piling work on top of work. It's just like you
I
get buried in
know.
all that, and sometimes like with all that, when all that's hitting you at once, you just break down and cry.
Yeah,
Which
I've
happened to
actually.
me. It all hit me at once, and I literally
Yeah,
broke down and cried.
yeah, it's sad. It's happened. It's continuing to happen. And hopefully next year when we get back to face to face, I want to meet you guys when we get back to face to face. But
Yes.
when it happens, hopefully our grades and our mental health will be a lot better.
Improvement, because I'm a social butterfly. Being cooped up in the house ain't for me, baby. I gotta be out and about with people. I gotta see people. I gotta get to know people. I gotta
um,
conversate with people. You
I'm
know what I'm
completely
saying?
opposite to that.
Oh no.
I don't really. As a kid, I was like really social. Like I feel like that was kind of me being immature.
Mhm.
But I always in fifth grade, fourth grade, sixth grade, seventh, eighth, I was really outgoing, outspoken. You know, I got in everybody's business. I was really nosy.
Mhm.
I was in the center of
Oh,
everything.
Sebastian, you was that one little nosy kid. Listening on, have your ear eavesdropping on drama that the girls are talking about.
Ooh, it's drama.
But
What's the tea?
I feel like moving schools.
Mhm.
So you know how elementary, let's say all your elementary people went to one school, but you
Mhm.
went to a complete other.
Oh
You
yeah,
lost
that's
everybody there. I feel
Oh
like
it's
that's what
rough.
happened
yeah.
between elementary to my middle school, then from middle
Mhm.
school to high school again. So by the time high school, I knew no one.
Your
Oh,
support
I
system were gone.
completely understand that because the
Yeah.
thing is, my elementary school, our middle school that we all went to is literally right next to it. And then so like when eighth grade, so like I grew up, so I've been growing the people that I go to school with now in high school. I've been growing up with them since like pre-K or like kindergarten. So it's like I've been knowing them for a long, long time. And part of that reason is to why I wanted to go to Lakeview or one of the GISD schools is because I want to graduate with my childhood friends, and most of my childhood friends, especially my best friends, they all went to Lakeview. So I was like, oh, I gotta go to Lakeview because I gotta graduate with them. It won't be right if you don't graduate without your
Yeah.
childhood friends. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So you want to know nobody. So I was like, yeah, I got to go. And because of that, at one point we thought it wasn't gonna happen because like I was like on a waiting list because I live in Forney, and that's most definitely not
Yeah.
Right.
the
Right.
GISD code. But since my mother works with the school, they was like, oh, she go to whatever school. Since you work with the school, she can still go to a GISD school because you work with the school. And I was like, amen. I was like, Mama, you better not quit GISD. You better wait till
Mhm.
I graduate, girl.
Yeah, my mom also works at Lakeview, so like she always tries to check up on me, push me, but as I said it earlier, I'm pretty much self-sufficient now and I just do
Mhm.
everything on my own
Right.
and
And
keep
Sebastian,
moving.
And I feel like one reason you're like that now is because we're older and we done see some things and we didn't see how people move. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about? So it's like people done you wrong as friends and stuff. It's like, oh, I don't want to. You know what? I don't want to be friends with no one. It's just best to
Right,
be a
right,
loner. And sometimes being a loner is the best option.
right.
Yep.
Most
Okay.
definitely.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Um, I was just gonna move on to the
Yeah,
next.
I was supposed to move on to
Okay.
the adulthood
So,
part.
what do y'all think are the differences between being a child and being an adult?
Um,
Yeah.
so in my opinion, adults tend to have a lot more stress. As like not adult, but like just transitioning out of high school. That's what most of their stress is. And they're still pretty much teenagers because their brains haven't developed yet, and they pretty much stop developing around 25, 27 age area. That's when the brain stop developing. But they're still teenagers essentially, and they're expected to do a whole lot more. But then again, childhood, you're just expected to do so much less, and you're just free to do whatever you want. And I think it's unfair to adults that has to happen. But then again, teenagers are that little transition area. But children tend to be, I think they're more carefree, and adults are a lot more stressed.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
just feel like adults or like teens have way more responsibility, but then again, like sometimes I really don't think there's a difference sometimes,
Mhm.
which is the only difference. Not saying mentally, but like physically will be the only physical appearance. But sometimes I feel like everyone kind of has the same mentality because like
Mhm.
you never know what no one's been through. Like some people been through worse than me at the age of 8. You know what I'm saying? Like an 8 year
Right.
old probably has it way harder out there than I have it hard. So I feel like, which goes back to having to mature faster. So sometimes I feel like as a kid, you could stress depending on your
Yeah.
home situation, what's going on in your life. As a teenager, you could stress or be depressed or anything, have some type of mental problem if like things aren't right in your life and stuff like that. And as an adult as well. So with that, sometimes I feel like it's a difference, but others I don't because you never know what people go through. You know what I'm saying? So but at other times, I would say probably responsibility and people knowing right from wrong too. Like I feel like there's a certain age where you know what's right and you know what's wrong and you know what you're doing. And you know what you're
Yeah.
not supposed to
Okay.
do.
Yeah. What about you, Sebastian? You just asked the question, but you didn't get where it put
Um,
it in.
I think being a child, it's obviously a lot less responsibilities because adults are charged with actually taking care of the child. So I feel like the adults take the problems of the child as well as their own.
Right.
So obviously adults are gonna have more stress, more everything, and childs are a little more carefree. But I mean,
Right.
other
Right.
than that, I think that's
That's reasonable.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just depends on the situation, I guess.
Yes, the most definitely depends. It all depends on the situation with certain people.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
So,
so oh sorry.
oh, it's okay. I
So
was gonna.
you want to go with me?
You can go.
So technological advancements. So over the years, we obviously know that adults are gonna have they were raised a lot differently.
Mhm.
Now we see fourth graders with phones. So
Right.
with technology with technology being taken into mind, how do y'all think that would change how someone's transitioning from childhood to adulthood?
it will most definitely change them a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys, but I see a lot on Instagram and
Mhm.
social media with bullying that not
Hmm.
only started
Yeah.
bullying, but then people comparing themselves to others like, oh, I wish I had what this person had. Oh, I'm not prettier than her. Oh, she's prettier than me. Oh, he's buffer
Yeah.
than me. Oh, he gets all the girls. So I
Right.
feel like that takes a lot that takes a major toll on anyone who has social media, which I
Right.
feel like kids definitely do not need because now with social media you're just basically when you get back to a kid you're just basically asking for problems and mental health problems
Right.
because
Hmm.
social media is
Yeah.
such a what is social media is such a toxic place. It used to not be as toxic as it is today, but now it is
It's
out of
like
control.
it's
It's
done. It's
It's
way out of
changed. Yeah.
control, and I just
Um.
feel like yeah. Mm.
So with that in mind, uh, do you think it definitely does affect the mental health and maturity levels?
Yeah.
But do you think that the social media with all these quote unquote fake people, do you think it really affects mental health, like self-esteem and self-image?
Well, yeah, because
Most,
like Kirsten said, they would
Sebastian.
compare themselves to all these, and all these people would have something that they don't and what they want. But like, so I feel like that would really change how someone feels about themselves because of comparison of other famous people, I guess.
and right, not only that, but then back to the bullying thing. Like, I'm on the Harriet side, so it's like people like what bullies. I don't get bullied for it, which I really appreciate that I don't get bullied for it. Well, I don't know if I get talked behind about it back or not about, but as face to face, I don't get, or online, I don't get bullied for it. But I know it's girls and boys out there that get bullied for being on the hairy side, or for even being too skinny, or like just being men, and they won't even be doing that to somebody. And somebody just come up to them or type about them like they're from school and be like, oh, so and so is this, so and so is
Yeah.
that. And that is like, I feel like that's not okay, because now you don't know what that person has going on. Now they might have something going on, might be to depressed or have anxiety. Now they got someone else attacking them, so now you're just adding more to that, which is not okay. So it's like, I just said, like they said, this quote, never judge a book by its cover, because you never know what that person's going through.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and even if you do, it's still not okay to judge anyone or like talk down on someone.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
And then with that, and then now when people constantly do that, now you're there. Now the person's starting to believe that it's actually true. Now you're making them believe it's true when it's not. So it's like,
Right.
it's kind of like a mind game that they be playing with them. It's like, oh, you're this, and then now they go home, look in the mirror, and it hurts their feelings. Like, oh, they're right, I am that,
Yeah.
when they're really
Yeah.
not.
I mean, to be quite truthful, that has happened to me a couple times during my early high school years and my middle school years. A lot of kids didn't like me because I was a little overweight and I was too nice. I would constantly ask if anyone needed help, and they were like, you know what, you're ugly, go back, just leave us alone. And I ended up going home a couple days crying because of bullying, and it's not fun.
It
Yeah.
really isn't fun. And like,
Yeah.
people don't just get bullied for their body image, but people also get bullied for the way they think. Like, I could be like, oh, I believe in aliens, and somebody be like, oh, you're a weirdo, you believe in aliens, you know that stuff isn't true, and then make a big old deal or like a wuss about it, and now it's
Yeah.
spreading like wildfire around the school. Like, dude, all I said was I believe in aliens, and you think I'm weird? Like, there's been sightings of UFOs. Have you not been on the internet or like been keeping up with NASA? Come on now.
Yeah. So there's this graph that I really wanted to talk about. It says, apparently a lot of parents of child age 11 and younger say they're concerned their child might spend too much time on their screens. And this graph actually says that 31% of the parents are very concerned, and 40% are somewhat concerned, and 28 are not at all.
That's really sad, because screen time does affect children as well as adults. A lot of adults have their own screen time, which they need to monitor on their own.
Yeah.
But when it comes to children, it is a big concern because it does affect mental health as well as physical health. I used to do a lot of games as a really child, and it damaged my eyesight because of it. So I had to wear glasses.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Oh,
feel
girl,
like
you understand? I used to watch TV a lot, and now I went to the doctor and they said I had to watch, but I was watching a little bit too much of Hannah Montana, and now I'm stuck with glasses. You know? And
yeah, and especially
right. And like I said, with the graph that Sebastian is talking about, they're like 40% somewhat. I feel like that is ridiculous, because you're an adult, they're a child. You have the right, or like you can make that choice for them. It's like not people. It's not like other people are giving your children that screen time. You're the one who's giving these iPads, tablets, phones, TV, video games to them. It's up to you to decide if you want to like snatch that away and give them a book. Because like sometimes, not even with myself, sometimes I feel like that technology is increasing and textbooks are decreasing. There's a lot less reading and a more reading and being online doing ridiculous stuff that shouldn't be done. Like people are worried way more about what their kids are doing online versus worrying about their grades, which is the main focus and the main goal to a successful life. Sometimes, in certain cases,
Right.
So it's like parents, you are in charge of what your kids can do or not because you're the adult. You know, like sometimes you have to put your foot down and be like, "Hey, Emily, no, you cannot have your tablet. Go read a book. Go do your homework."
Yeah. And especially since Google is such a easy way to look up literally anything you want. And a lot of parents don't put restrictions on what they can look up. So they can grow up, let's say, grow up very quickly with just Google.
Right.
So if you wanna, we can move on to trauma.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of experiencing this topic, y'all.
Okay. So,
which is a bad thing. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the way we cope with things. Sometimes we laugh about it, right? So with trauma, hold on, let me go down to it.
I can go ahead and pick off the trauma part, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so when I was researching about it, I found this quote from Cozzolino, and it says, unresolved and unintegrated trauma may result in post-traumatic stress disorder and cumulative lifetime trauma, increases likelihood of developing PTSD. The impact of the wide variety of traumatic experiences is woven into the structure of personality, often making it difficult to treat. On top of this, post-traumatic stress disorder has 4 different types. It has reliving or re-experiencing the event, which is kind of self-explanatory, hyperarousal or being on guard, meaning you don't trust anyone, you're constantly on edge, you're always tense, and it's really hard to function. You have avoidance, like avoiding crowds, and a negative change in beliefs and feelings. How do you think these 2 quotes as paraphrasing really connects? How do you think it connects with childhood and adulthood?
Well, let's break that quote down because it was a lot, and I'm like, I don't understand this quote. So it said unresolved and unintegrated trauma may result in post-traumatic stress disorder. So I'm just
So that's like if a military person, an army man, comes home and they don't sort out their problems. Like they've seen war, they're scarred, but they don't really treat it. They don't try to see a counselor about it, and they just let it build up, which can result in PTSD, making it hard to live their life.
Yep.
Is what that kind of means.
Okay, and then it says what the C word is, y'all. Sometimes I can't read. Screen is really small. Hold on.
The next sentence is impact of a wide variety of traumatic experiences, which is the 4 different types I mentioned, and how it's woven into personality. Say, like, this kid, I'm going to use this random kid, we'll call him Jake. Jake experienced a lot of abuse from his parents, and because of that, his parents ended up degrading him a lot, so it affects his personality, making him really shy, really unmotivated and confident, which is a result.
People. Okay. So now that that you explained it to us, or explained it to me rather, it I would say it most definitely will probably have some. Yeah. That's all I can say. Yeah.
So it does affect children and adults alike.
Yes, it most definitely it can affect children, teens, adults, anyone. Because I feel like you said, if Jake was like very was growing up abused a lot and degraded and stuff by his parents, of course that's gonna change something. Now when he goes out into the world, now he's gonna expect people to degrade him and talk to him a certain way, which is not okay. But say if like Sarah, she grows up she grows up with a mother and father who are married, and they compliment her. They be like, "Oh, honey, we're proud of you. Your grades are outstanding." They encourage her to be who she is. And, they're not like all up on her. They lift her when she's in need. Now she's going to go out in the world expecting that, and now she's going to feel real confident about herself, and people won't be able to tell her nothing because at home her parents and her anyone that's living with her makes her feel confident.
I really I feel like I'm a very strong believer that challenges make you mature,
Right.
make you into an adult. So like if a kid is being abused like that, I feel like he'd be a lot more mature than, let's say, Sarah, that she had everything she wanted.
Right.
But
Right.
I think we're running out of time here, so we should probably
Like,
move on
move
to the
on a
next
little bit.
subject. Yep. Yeah.
Go ahead and finish to explain what you have, so we can go
So,
into definitions
I
of quote.
wanted to say one of the quotes I find. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it because where is it? Where is it? The quote from mine was that I feel like is something that happens a lot. It says he was young. Well, we could say he or she was young when that happened. He or she won't even remember it as an adult, which is not not true. Most
Yes.
definitely
Yeah,
not
it could.
true.
It could be like a subconsciously, like you don't specifically remember it, but it does affect your personality and how you present yourself. But it could also be remembered, which is a lot worse.
Right, and two, when you're an adult and like you suppress all that trauma and all those feelings, that tends to build up and like it tends to come back up, and now you remember all that. So, and I feel like it's like with trauma too. Like there's a lot of different types of trauma. Like there's like hurricanes or like natural disaster type trauma, abusive trauma, domestic violence, sexual assault, which we probably shouldn't get into, but all that, I feel like a person's going to be able to remember that for the rest of their life because it was a traumatic experience, and like it was something that no one should ever have to go through, and sometimes it gets really bad to the point where it affects the way people live. So yeah, that's what I had to say about that
Okay,
topic.
that. Thank you for explaining a little bit more. But with all this in mind, it does affect your maturity level. Because trauma and your relationship with your parents, whether it's good or bad, does affect your maturity level. And as we've talked before, maturity does influence if you are a real adult or a child in some sorts of cases.
Right, and sometimes I feel like when you get into friendships and relationships, you tend to bring all that baggage with you, what sometimes could wreck your friendship and relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if someone was, say, if I had a really traumatic experience and I couldn't get over it, now that's affecting my daily life because now they're like, "Ooh, girl, you got so much going on. I don't even think I could be with you." Like, and like emotions and stuff build up and that comes out and you're snapping on anybody and everybody and you're making up scenarios in your head and stuff like that.
Right.
And so now no one wants to mess with you and and then too you're not dealing with it at all. You're not seeking help or like reaching out to anyone and saying I need help or taking responsibility, like which is adult. Like you need to say I need help. I need to sit down and figure out what's going on with me and discuss what I feel and how I feel, and I need to deal with this in order to get better and move past it.
Right.
So yes, I feel like.
You ready to move on to the last section?
Yes, we are. I am. What about you, Sebastian? Okay.
We're about ready to move on.
Yeah, we're good. So since it says everybody is different and teenagers are a different breed and they're in their own category, what do y'all think is like, do teenagers fit in the same category as a child or adult, or do y'all think teenagers are a little different? Like, where do you think they fall?
I feel like they're a little bit different. Like it says, I feel like like it says own category. I feel like they really do tend to fall underneath their own category because they're, like you said earlier, they're a mix of adulthood and they're a mix of childhood and like child tendencies and adult tendencies. So it's like sometimes you want to have fun and do this and that, kiki, and then you have the other side where you need to be an adult, fix your grades, be serious, and then at that time, like us now, we're starting to get into driving, which is a very big responsibility, because it most definitely affects the way we live our life. Like, it take us out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to be taken out like that in a car wreck, which can be very traumatic, like you said earlier. And then we're getting into jobs and stuff like that, and now we're starting to look for colleges on ourselves. Like, soon we're gonna have to go out there and do our thug fizzle and be on our own. So yeah, it's definitely fall under their own category. Like they're a mix of both.
Sorry. I have a funny story to tell about my experiences with driving and how that has separated me from being a child, teen, and adult. When I first started driving, when I was 14, I was anxious. The very first time I drove, I had a hard time getting out of the driveway, and after I picked up my brother from his work, we started driving home, and all of a sudden there were blue lights flashing behind me.
Oh
So I
no.
ended up
Girl, you got pulled over.
yeah, I got pulled over, and I was literally shaking. I could not breathe. The officer, she was really nice. She came up and told me, who was driving? She looked at me up and down. I'm like, my mom had answered for me because my teeth were chattering. She said, oh, she just got her permit today. The officer was like, oh, really? Congratulations. However, your tags are expired.
Oh, your tags are
Oh,
expired.
so it wasn't even you.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault.
She didn't ask for like the registration or anything. My girl was so scared that she was gonna get in trouble.
It was my mom's fault by accident. And so mom's like, oh, I didn't realize. We'll get that sorted out. So I just got off with a warning. And I
Oh
was like,
no!
oh. It doesn't go on any transcript, it was just a warning. And I still have the little paper she gave me.
Oh
Hey,
my
at least you got it
goodness.
off easy.
I'm most definitely. Oh, y'all have a crazy story, and my dad is like, I don't know what made him tell me this. Okay, so like I said, I'm 15. When I was 15, I can't remember if I just turned 16 or 15. But he's driving. Okay, to get to our house, we had to get on Highway 8 to come home.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't the highway, but he kind of pulls over on the side of the street where a lot of cars are driving.
Right.
He says, "Get out! I want to see you drive. I want to see you." He said,
Oh my god, so what did
he says to me, "Get out the passenger seat and get into the driver's seat. I want you to drive home." And I was so excited, but I was terrified and nervous.
I know.
It was like an actual real street with turning lights, signals, people going this way and every kind of way. And y'all, I was so nervous. He was like, hold the wheel. I was like, I am. You making me so nervous.
Oh,
they always
that.
scream and it just
that
adds.
was traumatic.
Yeah, it's
that was
when they
traumatic
scream
right
at
there.
you.
Yeah, when they
Ugh.
scream at you, I'm like, I know to stop at the red light. Stop screaming at me.
Right, and then we get home. I pull into our driveway and pull into the garage. She was like, "Ooh, I gotta take you to driving school." I was like, "You can't just tell me to get out the passenger seat and hop in the driving seat, knowing I."
And then complain.
Right, I've had experience behind the wheel, but not like on the actual street like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah. Okay. I think we should move on to the last.
Last couple things.
Topic.
Yeah.
So I don't think we ever. Yeah, I don't think we ever like really touched up on the actual what the podcast is about, the actual main question. So y'all want to try answering that?
Yeah. So the essence of a child. The last two parts of this document we're looking at is what adults keep and what adults lose. It's pretty much saying, what do you think? How much of childhood really stayed with you as an adult?
My thoughts on it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You can go.
My thoughts on that are you keep very little.
Right.
Because as a child, you're creative, you're curious, you're adventurous,
Right.
everything.
Energetic, ready to do this and that.
Everything. But then as an adult, you just lose it all because you got all these responsibilities. You got a family to take care of. You got a girlfriend to make happy. You got all these things. So,
have a job too. So like, I feel like when we're as we're becoming adults or like becoming of age to do certain things, I feel like I most definitely feel like we all kind of lost a little bit of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
We all kind of lost the energy that we used to have, like the hyped up energy that we have. And it's like kind of related to cars. Like, I wish I had the picture, but it was like when we're in elementary, we're a kid, everything is so colorful, vibrant. And now as we get older, some things tend to be gray and white and black. You know what picture I'm talking about?
Oh, but
I have to find the picture and put it in there because it was just like a really, really like I felt it. I felt that picture.
That reminds me of an experience I had just literally a couple days ago. Me and my mom went to some place, and I remember using to love it as a child. I remember it was bright and fun, and after we got through it, I told my mom, you know, my little child brain hyped this a lot more than it really was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sad that I lost that that imagination when it comes to places.
Yeah.
And something I used to love is now just a regular spot, and I don't really care for it.
It's like now it's kind of hard for me to be a little bit creative because it's like so many things that goes on in my head. I overthink a lot, and like I worry about so much stuff than I did as a child, where I just created anything, imagined anything, was making things out of popsicle sticks.
Right.
Now you give me a box of popsicle sticks, I don't even know what I should do. I'm sitting like, now I'm sitting here thinking about the who's, what, and whys. I'm like, what is this? What if that? Like, and all about the what if, which is like I feel, which is like you said, it's kind of sad.
Critical thinking.
But I feel like too, it's ways to get that back, like just to try to let things go, you know, or pray about it if you what you believe in, and like, you know, just try to be free.
Yeah.
And I feel like too, school tends to have a lot to do with that for me, because it's like I know when summer hits for me, I'll be happy. I'm able to do anything, everything. I'm carefree. But then when school is that, now I have to worry about standardized tests and these grades. Like, school isn't fun anymore. As you get older, school stops being fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, school used to be so much fun. Now it's a chore and a job.
Yeah. So I think we're running out of time now.
Yeah, we're in the last 5 minutes of our scheduled time. So let's go ahead and close this all out. As a reflection, I think what we talked about today was really important because we got to understand the differences between being a child with your innocence and creativity, what happens in the middle spot, teenage years, how you lose that childhood, and then what happens during as an adult with all your taxes, your jobs, all the new stresses and family. I think that's like a good summarization of what will happen with trauma and all these sort of different things that happened.
Yeah.
And then also, I feel like another big takeaway from what we talked about today is that no matter what age you are, who you are, what background you come from, someone always has something going on. So it's best to be careful and watch what you say to people, because you never know what your actions or what your words may have on someone, you know?
Right,
so that should be something everybody should learn from this topic that we talked about today.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, childhood and adulthood are a lot different. And
it's different. I wanted to thank you guys. When I wanted to do this project, I had no idea how to start it, and I'm so happy that I ended up reaching out during class and asking if anyone else wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you guys have that.
And you're really fun. I had fun. I talked to you guys.
I had too.
I didn't think it'd be a whole hour long. I thought we were 10 minutes in and out, but we actually got into a lot of really good topics.
We did. I'm glad we got to talk. I want to talk again, and this has been really fun.
Yeah.
And Friday night chatters, y'all. Let's just say we might continue it. You never know.
Yeah, this could become a regular thing.
You never know. We might continue it. You might get videos. We might send videos to our classmates or to our teacher every day. Every Friday night.
Every Friday night, you know, like the name Friday Night Chatters. We just chat, get to know each other more.
Yeah.
So. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Today's topic was really important and fun. So I think that's about it. You know.
Yep, that's it.
See you on the flip side.
See you on the flip side. Peace.